A very lovely afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us on Nationwide today. I'm Ogochkuka Bona. Welcome. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has nominated General Christopher Musa as the new Minister of Defense. In a letter to Senate President Godswill Akpabio, President Tinubu conveyed General Musa's nomination as the successor to Alhaji Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, who resigned on Monday. The President expressed confidence in General Musa's ability to lead the Ministry of Defense and further strengthen Nigeria's security architecture. General Musa was commissioned into the Nigerian Army as a second lieutenant in 1991 and has since had a distinguished career. His appointments include General Staff Officer 1, Training Operations at Headquarters 81 Division, Commanding Officer 73 Battalion, Assistant Director Operational Requirements, Department of Army Policy and Plans, and Infantry Representative Member Training Team, Headquarters Nigerian Army Armor Corps. And now the Northern Governors Forum has agreed to create a regional security trust fund, with each state contributing 1 billion naira monthly to enhance security, urging that the federal government to suspend illegal mining activities for 6 months, being identified as one of the factors worsening insecurity in the region. Muhammad Umar Ajengi reports that the meeting has entered its second day as the leaders continued their discussion for more suggestions to overcome the challenges.
The 19 northern states governors, together with traditional rulers led by the Sultan of Sokoto, are arriving for a meeting to address key challenges in the region. The meeting focuses on insecurity, the rising number of out-of-school children, poverty, and the need to strengthen good governance across the region.
We must once again commend His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his strong leadership and steadfast commitment to Nigeria's security, sovereignty, and territorial integrity.
Nigeria's centralized policy model can no longer meet the demands of a nation with over 230 million people and vast ungoverned spaces.
And I believe as leaders, we need to really come up, tell ourselves the truth. But I want to assure you, Excellency, the governors, we are 100% with you in this drive.
Their deliberations lasted for hours, after which these were some of the decisions they collectively reached at.
The forum resolved to set up a regional security trust fund to be funded with monthly contribution of 1 billion naira from each state and local government. The forum observed that illegal mining has become a major contributory factor to the security crisis in northern Nigeria. The forum therefore resolved to strongly recommend to the President to direct the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals to suspend mining exploration for a period of 6 months.
The Northern Governors Forum also expressed support for the proposal to establish state police. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Murajingi, NTA News.
In the meantime, the federal government has raised hopes of parents and the authorities of St. Mary's Private Catholic Primary and Secondary School, Papiri, where about 265 children, including some of their teachers, were abducted recently. National Security Advisor to the President, Nuhu Ribadu, assured them of the safe return of the abductees when he visited the Catholic Bishop of Kontagora Diocese and proprietor of the school, Most Reverend Bulus Dawa Yohana, and affected parents at the St. Michael's Catholic Cathedral, Kontagora, Niger State. Hussein Amusa has details.
The National Security Advisor to the President, Nuhu Ribadu, was received by Reverend Bulus Yohana, where he reassured the families of the captives and the school authority, disclosing that efforts have been intensified to ensure the safe return of all those in captivity.
Work is in progress, but we can assure you it's a matter of time. This thing will stop. We must stop it, and we are going to stop it. I'm telling you, enough is enough. We will not relent. We will not stop. We can give you the assurance that we are going to be there. It calls for us to stand together as one. Let's not allow bad people to divide us.
The management stand fully ready to collaborate with government security agencies and structured communication channels that can enhance intelligence gathering and overall security efforts to bring our children and staff home safely.
The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, who led the group into a closed-door meeting, also acknowledged the efforts of other European countries who are working with the Nigerian government to put an end to the menace of terrorism. Emena Hussaina Musa, NTA News.
And from Kogi State comes a report that 12 brigade troops of the Nigerian Army in Lokoja have rescued 6 kidnapped victims during a coordinated search and rescue mission. This time in Ejiba and Saminaka forests, as is spanning Yagba East and Yagba West local government areas of the state. A press statement by the Acting Assistant Director, Army Public Relations, 12th Brigade, Nigerian Army, Lokoja, Lieutenant Hassan Abdullahi, says following sustained air and ground offensives by troops supported by the Nigeria Police helicopter, the victims were found to have been released by the bandits. 5 of the rescued persons have been reunited with their families, while the 6th is currently receiving medical attention due to his condition at the point of rescue. Meanwhile, the troops also intercepted a vehicle conveying 306 parcels of substance suspected to be cannabis sativa, weighing 276 kilograms. The seized items and the driver have been handed over to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Kogi State Command, for further action. And still talking security matters, an advanced team from the Office of the Governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Oti, came under attack in the early hours of Tuesday, 2nd December, along the Umuowa-Ihite axis in Imo State. According to an official statement, signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Ukoha Njoku Ukoha, unidentified gunmen attacked the vehicle conveying the 3-member team shortly before the Sam Mbakwe Airport Junction. The governor's aide confirmed that contrary to circulating rumors, Governor Oti's convoy was not attacked and was not part of the movement at the time of the incident, and no lives were lost. Now, Nigerian journalists have been described as the nation's primary defense against authoritarian rule, and the federal government is assuring the citizens that press freedom remains a non-negotiable pillar of the Tinubu administration. Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this at the 2025 conference and annual general meeting of the International Press Institute Nigeria in Abuja, themed Addressing Media Repression and Safeguarding Democratic Accountability in Nigeria. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
This book of infamy by IPI. A round of applause, please. Thank you.
This is the unveiling of the IPI Nigeria's Book of Infamy, and Vice President Kashim Shettima in the midst of these professionals who fought and are still putting endless efforts in the cause of ensuring press freedom.
You have confronted those who sought to suffocate this oxygen of our democracy, and in moments of national confusion, you step forward to correct misinformation.
Journalists have played a stabilizing role during moments of national tension by correcting misinformation and holding power to account, and Vice President Kashim Shettima affirmed the federal government's commitment to protecting media practitioners from harassment and intimidation.
Our job is to report events as they are, and this cannot be easy without interests colliding. Yet the difficulty of the task does not diminish your essence, it only affirms your indispensability. We often fail to appreciate the Nigerian media enough, but the truth is unmistakable. It is impossible, utterly impossible, to have a successful dictator in Nigeria. And it is not for lack of trying. Never in our history has any person or government succeeded in suppressing the media permanently. You have stood firm in the coldest nights of national adversity, and you have outlived those who attempted to place their boats upon your freedom. You have been the life-size mirror of our nation, reflecting us not as we wish to be seen, but as we truly are.
He praised Nigeria's media community for its historic resilience in confronting authoritarian tendencies, stating that a successful dictatorship is impossible in the country due to the press vigilance, challenging media practitioners to maintain ethical standards, warning against those who fabricate stories and refuse retractions when confronted with evidence. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said the responsibility and commitment of the present leadership of the Nigerian media must uphold the presentation of facts, assuring that the Tinubu administration operates on the fundamental principles of an independent press in acknowledgement of the fact that a free press is the amplifier of an engaged citizenry.
The balance between national security, combating misinformation, and upholding absolute press freedom is a complex one, navigated by nations across the globe, not only in Nigeria. Our approach to this complexity is the most telling proof of our restraint.
Journalism is a tough, risky, and selfless public service. And if they get nothing for their sacrifice for society, journalists at least deserve respect and protection. Therefore, any further attack on journalists will be fiercely resisted going forward.
The professionals called for genuine collaboration among stakeholders in the country in promoting and enhancing independent journalism in Nigeria in the face of daunting challenges. In Abuja, Rahman Jibrila, NTA News.
All right, more efforts in ending HIV AIDS, the spread of HIV AIDS by 2030 in focus as we join our Lagos Network Center for more. Hello, Awal. Center.
Have you joined us in Lagos? The federal government is rolling out a combination of transport relief and skills development programs to support students and young Nigerians following the removal of fuel subsidy from electric tricycles on campuses to nationwide vocational training. Authorities say the goal is to reduce hardship and prepare the youth for the future. In line with its renewed hope agenda, the federal government has unveiled a dual-track support program for students and youths combining campus transport relief with a nationwide vocational skills drive. Several universities are now receiving electric tricycles and solar charging stations to reduce transportation costs, while others are being equipped with CNG-powered vehicles and refueling infrastructure. The Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, says the plan is to extend the program to cover all tertiary institutions in the country.
We're also deploying independent mini-grid across the tertiary institutions. We've built about 24 in all so far. That puts our universities off grid. We're building between 3 megahertz to 12 megahertz. And we are hoping that about 75% of all our tertiary institutions would have either their independent mini-grid construction started or fully operational.
Meanwhile, a large-scale skills training initiative has also been launched, targeting fashion design, solar installation, vehicle repairs, plumbing, and ICT maintenance. The minister says thousands of youths are already enrolled across hundreds of accredited centers nationwide, adding that each participant receives hands-on training and a starter pack suited to their trade. Graduates, he adds, will also have access to business financing through the Bank of Industry alongside placement opportunities via a national job portal.
The first cohort we're training about 250,000. As of today, we have about 130,000 of these students that you're seeing here in over 1,600 centers, all across 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory.
The intervention forms part of President Bola Tinubu's broader drive towards energy transition, youth empowerment, and sustainable economic growth. Skills acquisition to health, the fight against HIV continues with a target of ending the virus by 2030. With years of recording progress, the HIV response is now threatened globally as life-saving services are being disrupted and many communities face heightened risks and vulnerabilities. This year's World AIDS Day themed Overcoming Disruption, Transforming the AIDS Response highlights the challenges to the AIDS response caused by factors like funding crisis and conflict. Hingino John Adams tells us more.
Data by the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, shows that Nigeria is making significant progress towards ending AIDS by 2030. The country has so far achieved 2 of the 3 UNAIDS 95-95-95 targets, with a current standing of 87-98-95, which means 87% of people living with HIV know their status. 98% of those diagnosed are on sustained treatment, and 95% of those on treatment have achieved viral suppression.
When they are meeting the doctor, we do adherence counseling. When they go to the pharmacy, we do adherence. Adherence is encouraging them to take their drugs. What are the benefits of taking your drugs? Are you having any challenges with that? How can we help?
Government can increase their local funding, bring other agencies together, and so that they can fight the issue of HIV and AIDS.
Despite the progress, global challenges to AIDS response, like funding crises and conflict, stand as a great threat to meeting the target.
We have tried to employ targeted drug delivery. Targeted drug delivery is a strategy such that you direct the drug to the site of action such that it can be delivered in a controlled manner.
Stakeholders believe with determination by everyone, the war against HIV/AIDS will be won. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
And that concludes our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide will continue with Ogochukwuka in Abuja after the break. To stay.
Heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the...
Thank you for staying tuned. Senate is proposing the adoption of 112, that is 112, as uniform number to call or test in Nigeria to report emergencies. Sponsor of the bill, Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua, in the lead debate, said currently multiple emergency numbers are in use as emergency lines by various agencies of government. This practice, he added, has been identified as an impediment to getting accelerated emergency response during emergency situations. 112, he says, is easier to learn, remember, and dial. Meanwhile, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, as chairman of the selection committee, has reconstituted leadership of 4 standing committees of the Senate, which include Committee on National Security and Intelligence, Committee on Air Force, Committee on National Planning, and Committee on Livestock. As the Senate works to fine-tune legislation on worker compensation and social insurance, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Megari Dingyadi, has advised that the proposed law should be people-centered. At a public hearing convened by the Senate Committee on Employment, Labour and Productivity, members of the organized labour turned up in large number to register concerns over some provisions in the proposed law. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
This public hearing is to collate stakeholder opinion on social security and protection for workers in the formal and informal sector as embedded in the Nigerian Social Security Trust Fund Act, whose source of funding are deductions from employers, employees and the government. The NSITF manages these monies to provide benefits to workers in case of work-related injuries, disabilities or death. The Senate Committee on Employment says the proposed bill seeks to safeguard workers.
To expand eligibility to include workers in the informal sector and those in precarious employment.
Its passage will strengthen our national security system, promote labor welfare, and contribute significantly to economic growth.
But the organized labor is kicking against some provisions in the bill.
When you talk of employees' compensation, is clearly different from social insurance. Safeguard must be maintained. We demand that the bill explicitly provide for an independent investment committee composed of financial experts.
Employee compensation
is a component of social security because it speaks to welfare. Let us focus on the employee compensation scheme and do it very well.
At the end of the day, we are going to arrive at a very safe and very acceptable position to all of us. This is a normal legislation process that is geared towards ensuring that NSRTF is made more effective.
The committee is optimistic that the aggregate opinion will be harmonized to ensure that the legislation meets international best practice. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And also from the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has constituted an ad hoc committee to investigate delay in the release of monies accruing to the National Social Investment Program Agency, which was recovered by the anti-graft agencies on the orders of the President. This was sequel to a matter of urgent national importance raised in plenary by Representative Saidu Abdullahi. Adopting his motion, the House notes that non-release of the recovered funds is undermining the social investment program of the Renewed Hope agenda and slowing down poverty alleviation efforts by the federal government.
Worried that credible sources have indicated that this recovered funds estimated at over 30 billion have not been remitted into a SIPA's designated treasury single account, thereby stalling program implementation and leaving millions of intended beneficiaries without the social and economic support envisioned by the federal government. An ad hoc committee to investigate the total funds recorded from NSIPA during the 2024-2025 investigations, determine their current status and custodianship, and identify any issues delaying their release to the appropriate agencies with the aim of facilitating the prompt recommencement of the social investment programs.
National Assembly correspondent Mitairi Ikpe reports that the House also condemned the brutal killing of 5 policemen who were ambushed during a lawful security operation in Sambon Sara village of Darazo local government area in Bauchi State, urging the security agencies to apprehend the perpetrators.
Credible intelligence linking the attack to armed group resisting the arrest of the dethroned hamlet head of Sabon Sara village, whose actions pose a continued threat to security and community stability. Call in the Inspector General of Police to expedite the payment of statutory entitlements and insurance benefit and to ensure full medical care for the injured officers.
Fostering the next best generation of public sector leaders took center stage as the Legislative Mentorship Initiative, a brainchild of the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, held its 4th cohort graduation ceremony. Amina Seidu reports that the occasion brought together top national and regional leaders dedicated to strengthening governance and democratic values across Africa.
The 36 participants, now turned graduates of the initiative, were selected across the Federation. Chief of Staff to the President and former Speaker of the House of Representatives, who is the founder of the LMI, Femi Gbajabiamila, maintained that the program is aimed at upholding Nigeria's diversity, unity, and national values.
Sense of fulfillment. When we gathered here 3 weeks ago for the opening ceremony, some of you sat here with anticipation and uncertainty, but also with hope, curiosity, and ambition. Looking at you today, more grounded, more enlightened, more purposeful, more confident, I am reassured that our collective labor has not been in vain.
We value federal character, we value inclusion of women, men, persons with disabilities, and people from all over the country. So the LMI has always been a representation of Nigeria. When you come into our midst, you see represented every single state of the Federation, men, women, and persons with disabilities.
An outstanding fellow award was also presented to a graduate in honor of our alumnus of the initiative, late Oluwadamilola Agbaji, who passed away tragically. With the intense mentorship program completed, the new graduates are expected to embody ethical leadership, innovation, as well as accountability to Nigeria and the world at large. Amina Saidu, NTA News.
And empowering legislative aids as strategic drivers of parliamentary effectiveness in African nation is in focus as legislative aids converge on Abuja for 3-day capacity building to enhance legislative and support legislators achieve their goals within the African continent. National Assembly correspondent Issa Mohammed reports that the maiden edition was anchored by the Nigerian National Assembly Legislative Aids Forum.
This is the first time legislative aides within the African continent meet to chart the way forward in their legislative business to drive the success of their principles and strengthening democratic institutions in the continent. With clear goals, the convener of the conference and chairman of the Nigerian National Assembly Legislative Aids Forum, Chief Emeka Nwala, said objectives of the gathering is promoting and strengthening democratic institutions, enhancing legislative skills, quality research with best global legislative practices across African continents.
The above articulated trajectory is anchored on the universal perception that efficient development of democratic and parliamentary institutions is knowledge-driven.
Legislative aids are the powerhouse that drive the parliament. They can only be members of the House of Assembly of Senators, but without the aids, the parliament won't stand.
Their work shapes debate, strengthens oversight, enhances accountability, and ensures public resources are managed transparently. They are the ones who draft reports, prepare briefs, arrange hearings, record proceedings, organize documents, and maintain the transparency that modern democracies demand.
They believe that the conference will further guide the legislative aids towards understanding the legislative mechanism for achieving success. In Abuja, Issa Muhammad, NTA News.
And for a little bit of politics, Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State has resigned his membership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. A statement released by his spokesperson, Olawale Rashid, says the resignation became necessary due to the current crisis within the national leadership of the party. The statement clarifies that the governor resigned his membership of PDP since November 4th, 2025, through a letter personally signed by him addressed to PDP Ward Chairman in Ward 2, Sagba Abogunde in Ede North local government area of Osun State. The governor thanked PDP for the opportunities given to him for his elections as a senator representing Osun West and as governor of Osun State. All right, let's head to Maiduguri for more reports on Nationwide Today. And yes, I can see Abubakar Musa.
That again, Ogochukuka. In fact, we have a cheering news for you this evening. Borno State Government, in collaboration with Isaac Balami University of Aeronautics and Management, is set to train 54 aircraft planners and aircraft technicians from Borno State in its 2026 academic session. This was disclosed when Governor Babagana Umar Zulum received the founder of the institution, Dr. Isaac Balami, at the government house in Maiduguri. Here is Mohammed Guni with the rest of the story.
Dr. Isaac Balami, a proud son of Borno, reflected on his journey from a modest upbringing to becoming an aeronautical engineer, crediting the Borno State government's scholarship support for enabling his studies in aviation.
With the help of Borno State pushing me forward, myself and my team were founded the biggest in terms of operational capabilities, called OPSEC. We have the biggest in the entire West and Central Africa. We've done over 50 aircraft, C-checks and D-checks, including the AW1 training at the Presidential Airfield in Abuja.
Now a former national president of the Nigerian aircraft pilots and engineers, he said he is returning home to give back, committing to train 1 aircraft planner and 1 aircraft technician from each of the state's 27 local government areas, while highlighting the courses offered at the institution and the aeronautic-related services rendered by his firm. Dr. Balami appealed to the Borno State government to support the university. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum appreciated the federal government for approving the establishment of the university and congratulated the founder for attaining such a feat at his young age.
This university is our own university.
Vice Chancellor, I promised to pay a visit to your own university, see things for myself and identify what kind of contributions the government of Borno State can offer to this university.
He directed the Commissioner for Education and the State Scholarship Board to identify vulnerable and less privileged students for sponsorship in Maiduguri. Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Away from issues that have to do with aeronautics now to talk health. A major step towards improving Nigeria's healthcare system has been initiated by the Chief Medical Director of the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, Professor Ahmed Ahiju. He has successfully proposed a bill seeking the establishment of the National Institute of Interventional Radiology, Cardiology and Stroke, and has submitted the draft proposal to Borno's representative at the National Assembly, Usman Zanna in Abuja. Umar Jimbarima completes the story.
Presenting the draft, Professor Ahmed Ahiju described the proposed institute as a critical national investment in life-saving technology, specialized manpower development, and modern healthcare delivery. The Chief Medical Director emphasized that the National Institute of Interventional Radiology, Cardiology and Stroke would significantly reduce the country's dependence on foreign medical treatment and help address the persistent issue of brain drain in the health sector.
We also solicit the support of the other members of House of Representatives and Senate in Borno State and the states around the Northeast to support the passage of this bill.
Receiving the draft bill, Usman Zanna, member representing Kaga, Gubio and Magumeri Federal Constituency, commended the initiative, describing it as a timely that aligns with global trends in advanced medical practice. He assured that the vision will receive legislative attention, noting that once established, the institute will be the first of its kind, not only in Nigeria, but across the entire West African sub-region. If passed into law, the NIIRCS bill is expected to become a national center of excellence for interventional radiology, cardiovascular treatment, and stroke management, offering cutting-edge services and training opportunities for medical professionals. In Maiduguri, Umar Jimbarima, NTA News.
This is nationwide on the Nigerian Television Authority. Ogochukuka in Abuja will return with more news, but that will be right after this break.
Global and local efforts are gearing up to ensure that the World Health Organization's roadmap for neglected tropical diseases 2021 to 2030, like normal disease, become a reality. Meeting this goal was the focus at the National Oral Health and Normal Day, where key actors commit to reducing the burden of normal. Viewers' discretion is, however, advised while viewing this report. Elizabeth Omori reports.
Normal disease, Cancrum auris, is a severe infection that affects the mouth and face, especially children between age 2 and 6 in impoverished communities. Though preventable, but there are gaps. Bridging these gaps informed this gathering of medical experts and key actors in healthcare to strengthen intersectoral and global cooperation.
Through oversight and appropriation, we are strengthening routine immunization system, community nutrition programs, oral health care services.
Nigeria is ready to continue collaborating to strengthen surveillance, improve early diagnosis, and provide life-saving interventions.
Normal disease is caused by malnutrition, poor oral hygiene, and weakened immune system.
So far the focus has been on the Northwest, and we're realizing that it's not just the Northwest but also the Northeast and other parts, even southern states, where we find NOMA cases, so we're really at the beginning.
We have 18.9 million in that National Social Register, and I believe virtually all the parents of those who suffer from NOMA are in that register.
They recommend investment in nutrition, tackling poverty, improved access to health services, immunization, promotion of mother and child health, early detection, treatment, and rehabilitation. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Still talking health, Sokoto State has begun distributing essential medical equipment to health facilities across the state, aiming to strengthen service delivery and improve patient care. The exercise reflects the administration's commitment to ensuring that communities benefit from well-equipped and more responsive healthcare services. Dalhatu Abdullahi reports.
With the growing emphasis on improving healthcare access across Sokoto State, the government has intensified efforts to upgrade facilities through the distribution of essential hospital equipment. The initiative follows statewide assessment visits which reveal critical gaps in basic tools needed for effective service delivery. At the flag off of the distribution exercise, the Special Advisor on Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Muhammad Bello Marnuna, alongside the Executive Secretary of the agency, explained that the items were allocated based on the specific needs identified in each health facility.
The results of the assessment revealed some primary healthcare centers, hospitals were in their need of these materials.
Government of the itemized health as one of its 9 points agenda.
To make sure that every health facility have the adequate equipment in order to smooth all the activities in the PLCs.
Other stakeholders noted that the intervention is part of a broader drive to accelerate healthcare development in the state. Representatives of the benefiting facilities expressed appreciation for the gesture, describing it as a timely boost to their capacity to serve patients. They reaffirmed their commitment to using the equipment responsibly. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
All right, sexual and gender-based violence is not just a personal tragedy. It is a societal failure that weakens communities, silences victims, and erodes the foundations of justice and equality. It is this shared responsibility that brings stakeholders together to transform good intentions into concrete actions, strengthen coordination, and ensure that no survivor is left unseen, unheard, or unsupported. Fatima Sanusi Karaye has details.
The community vanguard engagement under the P21J project, themed Breaking Barriers, responds to the urgent need for a more coordinated and sustainable approach to addressing sexual and gender-based violence. Across many communities, survivors, especially women, children, and persons with disabilities, continue to face deep-rooted barriers that limit their access to justice, protection, and essential support services. This session therefore seeks to close those gaps by bringing together key organizations and associations.
Be aware that there is gender-based violence in their communities. We want them to help fight this gender-based violence. I want them to know it's not just sexual. There are also other parts of gender-based violence like domestic abuse, child abuse, FGM.
There is advantage in number. When the community come together, they collaborate, they discuss their issues, their problems. They are the ones that know the kind of problems they are facing and they know how to tackle it.
Ultimately, this engagement aims to establish a sustainable community vanguard, a network of committed advocates with defined leadership structure and a shared accountability framework. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Garai, NTA News.
And as well, the Defense Health Maintenance is convening key stakeholders in Nigeria's health and security sectors to address the growing challenges facing healthcare delivery within the armed forces. The engagement focuses on improving access to medical services for troops, strengthening specialized care for mental health concerns, post-traumatic stress disorders, depression, and extending support to veterans and families of serving personnel.
It affords us the opportunity to reflect, review, re-strategize, and renew our collective commitment to the noble task of providing comprehensive, qualitative, and sustainable healthcare services to our gallant officers, men and women of the armed forces, and their families.
PTSD is known all over the world as a fallout to men and women who have gone out there to fight for the country. And we realize that they need They can't just be abandoned. The military health facility is making effort to have dedicated rehabilitation centers in the facilities where such can be taken care of.
Stakeholders agree that improving the health of military personnel is not just a moral responsibility, but a strategy to sustain morale and operational readiness in the face of evolving security threats. History unfolded at the Louis Edet House as the Nigeria Police Force marked Female Police Day with a display of professionalism, discipline and leadership, placing women officers at the center of national policing activities for the day. Francis Form reports that from the break of dawn, the force headquarters buzzed with energy as female police officers took full charge of the Inspector General of Police's security architecture.
The moment the Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun arrived at the force headquarters, a female-led quarter guard parade was mounted in his honor. Every steps, salute and drills signal the readiness and capacity of female police officers to deliver at the highest levels of policing. Moments later, the activities moved to the Smart Conference Hall, where the IGP held a security meeting with the female officers.
We are not just being operational, we are holding very strategic positions. With your leadership, sir, today we have 3 of our women manning the 3 key strategic institutions of the police. This says a lot. It means you are entrusting the nurturing of the next generation of policemen and women in the hands of the women, sir.
You represent the strength of our past, the excellence of our present, and the promise of our future. You have brought into the Nigerian police force a unique blend of discipline and courage. I want to reaffirm my commitment as your Inspector General of Police to creating a policing environment where every one of you can grow, lead, and thrive without limitation.
The 2025 Female Police Day, therefore, not only celebrated 7 decades of women in policing, but also underscored the future where more female officers will play decisive roles in securing the nation. Francis from NTA News.
The women in black there, and still talking about them, policewomen of the Benue State Command have declared their readiness to join forces with other security agencies to combat insecurity and to decimate gender-based violence in the country as they mark 70th anniversary in the force. Blessing Omeche-Ebute reports that policewomen embarked on a 4-kilometer walk to Mama Abayol Children's Home in Makurdi and the Zone 4 Police Headquarters in celebration of the Platinum Jubilation.
1955 was the year the Nigerian police force started enlisting women into the rank and file of the force. The women police are in high spirits celebrating the Platinum Jubilee and marching gallantly to show fitness for the rigorous task of keeping the nation safe. It was dance galore as the 4-kilometer walk took them to the Mama Abayo Children's Home, Makurdi, where they exhibited their motherly care with donations of food and non-food items to the home.
So may the good Lord, who sees and reward in secret, bless you, your homes, your offices in thousands fold. Amen.
The essence of the celebration was divulged by the Divisional Police Officer, Zone 4, SP Sewese Anene, corroborated by the Benue State Police Command's Public Relations Officer, DSP Edet Udeme.
We are first grateful to God, secondly grateful to the Inspector General of Police and Nigeria at large.
Today's celebration is a reminder, a celebration of how far we have come from the pioneering women police officers from 1955.
The day remains remarkable in the annals of the Nigerian police force. In Makurdi, Blessing Omeche-Ebute, NTA News.
Very heartwarming there. Now, a book titled Bunny Boy, authored by a legal luminary, the late Niyi Ayola Daniels, has been unveiled in Abuja for public consumption. The book is a true life story of turning pains into purpose in criminal justice system and celebrating diversity of humanity. Omenka Marachuku completes the report.
The author of the book, late Niyi Ayola Daniels, a lawyer by profession, decided to capture his childhood experiences dated from 1983 in a book he titled Bunny Boy. The book is not only the story of his life, but contains messages that highlights critical issues within the criminal justice system and the advocate for change.
It was a school for all ethnic groups in Nigeria. Whether you spoke Hausa, Yoruba, or Igbo, we regarded ourselves as a kin.
This book is more than a chronicle of one man's journey to rise above division, to embrace the values of empathy, unity, and mutual respect.
It's a story of redemption. It shows how trauma can be transformed into a lifelong commitment to justice, national integration, and the celebration of Nigeria's multicultural identity.
The 18-chapter book, with 139 pages, traverses the length and breadth of Nigeria through the eyes of the author.
This is a book that shows that from pain, he decided to turn it to purpose by setting up the Buniyade Foundation, ensuring access to justice for children in the IDP camp.
Bunny Boy is recommended for all to read. In Abuja, Omenka Marachuku, NTA News.
And what's trending in sports? Lumide Eguntola will tell us.
Team Nigeria is topping the medals table at the ongoing West African Para Games in Abeokuta, Ogun State. The Nigerian contingent have garnered a total of 25 medals of 9 gold, 11 silver, and 5 bronze. Second on the log is Benin Republic with 2 gold medals. Team Nigeria is hoping to sweep the entire medals in men's and mixed wheelchair basketball as hostilities continue Tuesday with a date with their Ghanaian counterparts at the Alake Sports Center in Ijeja. In football, World Football Governing Body FIFA has reversed its earlier directive to European clubs to release players for the 2025 AFCON on or before December 8. FIFA confirmed that clubs are now permitted to retain their African players until December 15, which will give players opportunity to feature in important domestic and continental fixtures before joining their national teams for pre-tournament camping. In the English Premier League, Tuesday matchday 14 fixtures indicate that second place Manchester City will play away to 15th place Fulham. Bournemouth will host Everton. Newcastle will lock arms with Tottenham, while 5th place Brighton with 22 points will entertain Aston Villa, 4th on the log with 24 points. In the Spanish La Liga Santander, Barcelona will clash with Atletico Madrid. In tennis, New Zealand will host Bosnia-Herzegovina in a Davis Cup Group 1 tie at Mackay Stadium in Kensington from the 7th to 8th February 2026. The fixtures follows New Zealand's recent victory over Georgia in Palmerston North, a result that secured promotion to World Group 1. The tie will be the first Davis Cup event in the region. With sports update, Olumide Eguntola, NTA News.
And that's Nationwide today. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.